Yeah, I guess I'm primarily a clinician, although I'm fairly widely read in the area. I guess to kind of take on the issue of how I would be engaging with men kind of takes us back to the theories that kind of pack the way we deliver a program. And I guess many years ago, when I started working, probably 12 or 13 years ago, when the kind of gender analysis of parent control was kind of the way people were working with domestic violence and with men. And we kind of looked at domestic violence as purely tactics of parent control, and we kind of unpacked it in that kind of way, which kind of worked for a certain number of men, but we lost a hell of a lot of other men as well. And I guess to engage particularly individual men requires you being able to engage them at a psychological level to understand what is this individual guy, where's he coming from, what's his understanding of his relationship, what's his understanding of what's going on with his partner, what are his feelings about what's going on. And yes, a lot of men might see themselves as victims, as I mentioned before, of particular kind of patterns of emotional and psychological, I mean, abuse might be a strong word, it may not in some cases, but men certainly often might feel themselves as helpless and powerless and those kind of things. And we need to help that man understand why that is so, why he experiences that. Whether it is true or not true in that situation, we need to meet and engage with that guy at that level to help him understand his individual psychology and why he interprets things in a particular way, why his partner interprets things in a particular way. All these people didn't actually go to university, so they don't really kind of understand socio-cultural kind of levels of analysis. So we can't particularly engage them initially at those levels, but if we find we can engage them at that individual psychological level and help them understand how their individual psychology impacts on their interpersonal relationships with their partners and children, and help them to understand where that comes from and their patterns of interaction, the way that they emotionally react in situations, help them understand where that comes from in their family of origin, what are the particular kind of beliefs that inform the way they were brought up, that inform the kind of way that they enact their roles in relationships. Over a period of time, we find that we can bring them up to understanding, addressing some of the issues of the socio-cultural level rather than hitting them with that in the beginning. And I think we have a lot of success in our program with engaging guys because we work that way, and which takes us back to the theory that I'm always sort of being told for 15 years that psychological levels of explanation for domestic violence are inadequate. And I guess I always kind of wondered, why would anybody ever not think that? But I guess the question I have, why would anyone think a socio-cultural level of explanation was not inadequate itself? You know, that's guilty of the same error of omission, if it doesn't also deal with the individual psychological levels of explanation and the interpersonal interaction levels, and you put all of those together, and I think you have a more informed understanding of what domestic violence is, and it can help you work with the individual men to help them understand more of that at all the different levels.
Very quickly, I just thought I'd throw a comment in here in respect to, I suppose, one of the major confounding issues that we have in engaging men, and I don't think we can engage all men. There are certainly a group of men that will never be able to engage, and we have to just deal with them through the criminal justice system, as we should deal with every offender initially. However, I think the contradictions that we face in tackling men in the context of domestic violence is the contradictions that are presented each day and every day in our life, from the violence on TV, the billboards, the disrespect for women generally perpetrated across all forms of media, and I think that's one of the great stumbling blocks in tackling the issue of domestic violence at an individual level.
I think that over the years, my initial training was very much in the pro-feminist model, and what I found is that that's always, in my view, remained the basic foundation of understanding violence against women, violence in our society. It's been important, however, to build onto that particular foundation a lot of other particular issues, personal issues to do with family of origin, psychology, culture, all sorts of different other things. But in my view, the danger is elevating those particular influences to a position of either equality or more importance than the pro-feminist perspective. I think that always remains the most fundamental lens. The others can add to it and fill out the picture, most definitely. I think it's really an unfair thing to any man to just put him in as one particular, one size fits all kind of thing. I don't think that's fair. But at the same time, it's important to recognise the common issues that are part of violence against women.